Soraya,
I'm Paolo,
and
and
we're
we're
here
here
to
to
get
get
your
your
chit
shit
together.
together. Bang. Stop
I
saying,
feel like
man.
you said the S word there.
No, I didn't. I said
You know,
chit. I said chit. I said chit.
you
I
might
said
have
chit.
that Spanish lisp going
No,
on.
I'm not
No,
Spanish. I'm not Spanish. I'm not Spanish.
you're not Spanish.
Not.
Yeah, how's your week been, Paolo?
It's been good, man. It's been good. Busy. I'm still not buying this new year, new
Mm,
me thing. I'm not. I'm just trying to carry on doing what I'm doing. I just always try to be a better person, Soraya.
yeah,
That's
that's
how what I mean.
it's growth, right? We should always try to be better, I guess.
No, I'm telling
That
you,
should
man.
be with even like mid-year. Like we should always, every day, we should be trying to get better. As you can hear, I'm a bit ill. Can you hear that? I'm a bit ill. But yeah, it's I had two like relatives that passed away
Yeah.
in the last week, and I think it really made me realize how much we should always just try to do better,
Hmm.
because when we do pass on, it's just the memories that people have of us.
Mhm.
Hopefully, it's positive, and yeah, it's just been really heavy. It was my dad's anniversary as well, so it's been a heavy like week. But I guess it's a reminder, like life is so short, and death is the only thing guaranteed. When my aunt did pass away, I was like at her house while everyone was still at the hospital. And I was just looking around and I thought, all this materialistic things that we stress about or that we try earn money for,
Hmm.
we don't take it with us, right? And like I just went home and I had like a deep clean of my house, and I just thought, I don't need to be a hoarder anymore. I can let go of this and let go of that. So I feel a bit more like refreshed,
Hmm.
if that makes
Hoarder.
sense. A hoard I could be a hoarder. I could be a hoarder. Like I could keep hold of things. Like I've got a top that I'm never gonna wear again, and I'll just keep it there.
Hmm.
Having said that, one of my friends has a top we had like in 2011, and she wore it to work, and I was like, that looks really familiar, but she's managed to keep that in pristine condition. So I guess some people it's okay.
2011.
Yeah, 2011, and I've got a picture in the same top in 2011. So
That's crazy.
yeah, so she's managed to keep that.
Yeah, I threw away a lot of clothes a couple of weeks ago. I'm coming back to the bit of the negative one on this side. You know when people say about the hoarding and I'm cleaning out and it's like you're starting over again. I'm
Oh,
just cleaning my wardrobe out. I don't want any zen with it or like it's just not me, man.
do you not believe like the way you lay your room impacts your mood, or like the feng shui?
Nah, if I get to eat food that day, that impacts me in terms of like I need to make sure I eat. The room's clean, but it doesn't impact my mood. I think interactions impact my mood day to day.
So like even like the way I've positioned my bed, I don't like it being behind the door. Like there's certain things in my room or my living room, I like things in a certain way, because if it's not in that space, it's just like, yeah, it doesn't fit.
Do you have mirrors in your room?
I do have mirrors in my room.
See, I saw something online. Yeah, people don't like having mirrors in their room because they think they're like portals to another
Oh,
dimension. I'm like, it's just a mirror, bro. Like, I don't know.
that's interesting. No, I like mirrors because I feel like it opens up the space a bit more, especially like funky mirrors, like
Well,
quirky
for girls,
mirrors.
they need to be able to see what they're doing in the morning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never been that kind of girl.
Well, you
Like,
don't. You telling me you don't use a mirror, so you don't. So you do makeup, you don't. You just.
listen, I could just do it with my camera, like my
But
phone
yeah, that's
camera.
a
Like,
mirror though. That's what
yeah,
I'm
but
saying.
even like for example, you know how some people will have their vanity table and they will like lay out their
That's
makeup
my
and stuff.
girlfriend still.
Yeah, that's not me. I'm like on the go, like quick and easy, whatever. Like I'm just, yeah, I don't even have like a specific space, and I think that's what's really been hard, is because I'm not a girly girl as much as I want to be. I just struggle with like being a complete girly girl.
Yeah,
Have you
that's
ever had moments of road rage?
no, because I don't drive.
Oh,
Interesting.
interesting.
No, but do you know what? Get onto
So
that
you're
as
you're
well.
you're a passenger princess.
Whoa, chill out for a second. I'm in the process of getting it sorted out, but even in my driver lessons, I've had when I've done driving lessons, I've had road rage.
Mm,
So I've got the instructor next to me,
mm.
and I've cussed someone out.
You know what? I feel like it's not common for a man to drive these days, and women are just saving their names as long legs, really. There's lots more women that I know that actually own cars, and there's guys that might have their license but just don't own a
I
car.
know people. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were saying that they drive, but their lease is coming up on their car's done. They hate driving. They won't get another car.
Yeah, and there are some guys that are like, yeah, I don't like driving. I want to be driven around, and I'm just like thinking maybe you've just got a ban, or maybe you actually don't have a license.
Yeah, but do you know what it is? People don't admit it. If 20 people comment on this video and go, yeah, you haven't got a license, like, blah, 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 blah. Like, for me, you've got no impact on my life in terms of to be able to attack me like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take it to heart.
Yeah, I hear that.
Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
My friends will say it all the time. But then again, like, I don't rely on people to get me to places to an extent.
Yeah.
So, like, if I can get there, I'll get there. I prefer trains. And I don't do buses, though. I hate buses.
Long legs.
Long legs, man. No, but it's true. I do trains. Do you know, like, when you see these videos of people saying about dating and they're talking about
the man must have a car.
The man must have a car. Cool, that's fine. If that's your preference, I'm in a relationship, yeah. But I'm saying, if I was single and you're in that world of talking to people and you turn around to me and at that time I might not have a car, then that's we're done then.
Do you know what? Like, don't get me wrong. Because I've been driving 10 plus years now, and I've always had a car. I would prefer someone having a car.
100%.
Also, I think I'm a great driver. I think I'm a great parker too.
Out of curiosity,
no. But some people might. But you've just seen me park as well.
Do you know what it is? I know one person who is a great driver. But, like, do you know, like, when people say it and they just say it, like, he is a very good driver.
Okay.
But he's been. I'm not gonna bait him out on here, but he has been driving since the age of
10.
14 years old, and he was driving for a long time.
Okay.
He's been driving for a long time, innit? So, like, I've seen him do, like, yeah, I've seen him do certain maneuvers and certain things. He used to race as well. He used to go to Luton quite a lot. They had a big racing track there.
Yeah.
That competition. So he used to race in that.
Okay.
So he's a racer.
Is it good?
Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. I say I'm a good driver. Parking is my speciality, especially parallel parking.
What about the rest of it?
All of it. I could do any parking. I can drive in different countries. Before, I might be like going in between lanes and like rushing to two places.
Speeding.
Not speeding, but I might just be in I might be like weaving in and out. And then I realised, like, there's no point. Like, you're going to get to the same place practically maybe a couple of minutes off. And it's just stressful. I'm more of a calmer driver. But I do have road rage that could be quite bad.
I'm not gonna lie, I've got to get on to women about road rage still. I'm talking about the general woman for road rage, because I think women get road rage, but don't think about the surroundings, So, like, if a man and a woman are in a car, be it the woman's driving or the man's driving, you lot need to understand that when you're swearing or switching at a car of 5 men, they're not coming to you. They're going to go to the male in the car. Yeah. And this comes back to being equal and all of this. We're not equal in that sense, because women ain't got to deal with that. Men, on the other hand, if they see a man in the car, most depending on who you meet on the road, because some people might be a bit unhinged. Most people will go, well, I can't do physically anything to the woman, but to the man, we can have a fight. Sometimes the man don't want to fight.
No, 100%. And, like, I don't know if you saw the videos that went viral. I mean, we can try clip it in, where, like, I think it was in Croydon, and one of the women, she drove up to the car. She literally climbed into the lorry and she started punching up the guy.
Yeah, but do you know what's? Are you talking about the one where she starts punching the wing mirror?
Yeah,
but she looked like a man, though. I'm just being honest. No, I'm keeping that in, Soraya, as well. I'm not taking that out. Don't message me later on and say take that out. She looked like a man. So she
was on it. She was on it.
Yeah, but I'm saying she might be on the more, like, I'm saying, as in, like, that physical violence looked like more on the male side.
Like, she knew what she was doing.
I'm keeping that in. Don't ask me to take that out. Yeah, I'm keeping it in. So she just looked like, I don't see a lot of women fight like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I'm saying
she should go into MMA. She'll be quite.
Or she's very strong.
She is very strong.
She looked like she could beat a lot of men up.
A lot.
So what I'm saying to you is, that's like a rare occurrence.
Yeah.
More time though, you might just get the female barking in the car, but the window's up. She ripped the wing mirror off.
Yeah, she was on it.
She took the wing mirror off.
Yeah. I rate her. If
he actually let her in the cab.
Finished.
Mashed.
Yeah. On a more like heavier note, there was a story that I recently read where it was two Mercedes like racing each other, and I think they got into a little argument, and there was three guys in one and one guy in the other, and the three guys came out and they actually stabbed up the other driver, and it was fatal. So they all are now in prison because of it. So it's just like people need to know the limits. Is it worth the drama?
I feel as if men that I've spoke to have calmed down recently when it comes to road rage at drive, because of that reason. So like, and it goes back to altercations. So like going out of your house, driving down the road, get into an argument, 5 minutes later, and I think you said this to me off camera last week as well. 5 minutes later, you've gone from like being happy to you're now you've knocked someone out, or you've been hurt, or you're in hospital, or someone's down, or something fatally happens. 2 days later, you're in court for something. 5 days later, you're in prison. And all because you had a couple of moments of madness, and you're probably going to regret it because we're human, maybe.
No, 100%.
Depending on the person.
100%, and like the impacts could be, especially like for example, if you're a young man with a child and you've got a child at home, and you might be like even a co-parent, and you're now in prison, and now like your ex has to now raise your child by themselves. Men need to be a bit more careful with what decisions they do, because it could be, if it's fatal, you could have children or family that are now mourning because of that little bits of road rage.
I'm going to go back to it and say it as well, though. I think the females need to take accountability as well. Because I think both do, men and women.
No, 100%.
Because I feel like, all right, we've spoke before, or you've told me about road rage and stuff. I know that it happens and you have arguments, you move on, whatever, cool. But I feel like there are some women out there, and my girlfriend might be in this bracket, by the way. She might be in this bracket.
She might be.
So
heavy on the mic.
Heavy on the mic, yeah. When she's talking and screaming at people in the car, I'm trying to tell her, if they get out, you're not getting out the car.
Yeah.
You're not fighting them.
You better be going gym.
But
You better be lifting the weight.
Listen, I'm saying to you, but what if I don't want to fight them? So then what are we doing now?
You have to back the beef.
No. You've started this. So what are we doing? Are you getting out of the car? Equal rights. Open the door.
She better be going gym.
When it comes to certain things, I think some people need to calm down a bit.
Yeah.
But in general, like going back to the point, it is very important to say that like 5 minutes of madness can change.
Yeah, your whole
life.
Yeah, it's really important for us to be able to self-regulate and just our emotions, because what we do in anger, most times we regret anyway, but their impacts could be completely life-changing. So
I feel like I've seen it happen more in London. So like where I've got family out in the countryside, like in really rural places.
Yeah.
Driving is so like people driving are so relaxed around there.
Yeah.
But in London, everyone's in a rush.
I mean, have you seen Essex? The drivers there are mad. And it's all country lanes, and they drive a bit chaotic. I'm not gonna lie. Essex.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen,
but they are calm because they're not rushing to places.
Not everyone's in a rush. Whereas you go into London,
everyone's rushing.
People are cutting each other up to get in front of one space, but you're still a red light. Where are you going? And like it happened the other day. I cycle quite a lot. Yeah, I cycle a lot.
We hate you.
Yeah, I cycle.
Drivers hate cyclists.
Fitness, man.
Yeah.
But the person screaming at me in the car can't run. So like, what are we doing here? So I'm cycling, yeah, and I'm not one of them cyclists that I see a car behind, I will move for the car. Like I'm not one of them that
hogs the lane.
Yeah. I don't like all of that.
Yeah.
I'm not in a rush. I'm just trying to get workout done.
Okay, cool.
Like so, I'm not in a rush. But then obviously, most of the time I commute on underground and stuff like that. But I do like cycling now and again, and I've got more confident recently to go like on the road and do it, because that's a big thing. Cycling on the road is not. It's not chaotic.
Easy.
But then like you'll have it where like, even for me as a cyclist, let's talk about this. I could be right up to the curb. You've got all that road, but you still want to come up in my grill.
That's just bad drivers, honestly. Especially where I do cycle, I can understand. Like I can see it from a cyclist perspective, so I'm a bit more considerate with that.
Yeah.
But like when I was cycling, the last time I went cycling, I forgot that there's electric cycles. So imagine I'm there cycling my manual bike, and there's people like speeding past me, and that, if anything, scares me more than the cars, because I feel like cars give a bit more leeway.
People are gonna hate me because I don't drive and I cycle. I'm like everyone's worst enemy, but I promise you,
and you don't back the beef.
Depends. It depends. But do you know what? Most of my friends watch this, and I won't lie. I don't lie about things in it. I've always been the more level-headed one. That if I've always looked for a reasonable outcome. Like, I don't think the first instance fighting should be a thing.
Yeah.
There's a few times where you haven't had, like, growing up, I haven't had a choice. If I go back to Windsor, my friends will know about that are watching this. It was it was not necessary.
Okay.
It happened. One of my friends was struck over the head, unkind of warranted as well. And obviously, in that instance, you've got then 10 people in front of him who have done it. So you've got to protect your friend.
Yeah.
Those instances, but I don't always think the first instance to react to something is to, especially, I don't know, I can only speak because I'm a male, but like with males, the first instance is like gladiator, like we're fighting. There's no conversation, or it's a conversation, voices get raised, then there's a fight. I think sometimes, you've got to really look back, analyze the situation. Is it worth it? And talking about generally.
No, 100%. And I think, so I'll tell you a story about my road rage. And this is why I had to, one of the reasons I had to like just relax a bit. I was quite young. I think I was like 18, 19 at the time. Maybe more 18. And I was driving, I was leaving work and we were there's like 2 lanes. So imagine like 2 lanes. So it's just me and another car. And I'm on my phone. Disclaimer, this might not be true. So I'm on my phone. Allegedly. And I'm like texting away. So the car next to me, he's like knocking on his window and he's beeping at me. And I'm just thinking like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, like mind your business. So I carry on. I just ignore him and I carry on. He's now knocking again and beeping. So it's very unclassy of me, but I put my middle finger up.
Wow.
Do you know what he did? He put up his police badge.
Do you know what that is, Soraya? Karma.
I was so humbled, and it got worse because basically, if anyone knows Aldgate, the road I was on, it comes onto like a massive one-way system.
Yeah.
I was under so much panic that instead of going straight ahead, I turned left to get away from him because he was turning right. Luckily, he let me off, but I went down the wrong way on a one-way. So imagine I'm facing.
So it's your fault.
Yeah, well,
okay, cool.
And imagine there's 4 lanes now facing me, all coming at me, and there's 2 police cars right in front of me, and I thought, I'm finished. Like, I'm absolutely... Because obviously he must have been off duty. That's why he let it slide. And I was just like, oh my God, what do I do now? So I'm panicking. Luckily, the officers came out, and obviously maybe because I'm a female, they wanted to help for, this damsel in distress. And they stopped all the cars, made me do a little U-turn and drive back off, and I thought, I really could have lost my license there.
Yeah, see, that's never happening to a man, See, and this is where we
that
go back.
That humbled me.
It humbled you, but do you see what you had there? Privilege.
I did.
You had privilege. You had female privilege.
I did.
There. Because men wouldn't get that. They would have been stopped.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 points, whatever, nicked.
Yeah.
Maybe even arrested.
Yeah, 100%.
Dangerous driving, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, privilege.
Yeah, and there's been other situations where obviously it's been quite more heated, where it has led to like an argument. And once there was this bus driver that was arguing with my ex-partner, and he literally threw the water bottle and it came into my window. And I was the one that got hurt. And I thought, yeah, I have to be careful.
You definitely have to be careful. I think if we're talking about, road rage and we're talking about everything else, that it's a lesson to people that, life's short. Think about the decisions you make, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm going away from like road rage, like even just, and it's linked to this, but I'm saying, there was a lot of people will remember, but there was a fatal fight that occurred in Watford about 12 years ago outside of a nightclub. One guy punched the other guy, his head hit the curb, dead. All because you looked at me, I looked at you. Like, it's an ego thing. It's call me what you want, drawing me out because you want to show that your ego's
bigger,
big.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you've got a big ego. Cool. Yeah. You're the big man. Like, I'm past that.
Yeah.
Like,
no, 100%.
It's unless family are in danger, friends, etc. I don't think outside of that you would warrant having a fight. I don't hang around with anyone where it's like they would start stuff like that. I would be the first one to check them on it.
Yeah.
And I'd have a go at them for it. And I've maybe seen it once before and I pulled them aside and I said, that's you.
Even like coming back to like gang warfare now, a lot of it is the young boys are now just stabbing each other for the sake of stabbing each other. You've looked at me the wrong way. Just having young boys growing up, the streets are crazy. Like, there's even Westfield the other day in Stratford, there was boys running around with knives. 14-year-old killed a 12-year-old recently, and it's just like, imagine at 14 now you're like in prison for murder. Even coming back to the stabbing in Southport,
three young girls lost their life.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think I have to highlight that, because as much as we all sit there and report the stories about this and that and what should happen, let's remember for a minute that there's 3 families grieving, and three families have lost 3 children at an age they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't pick this up, Sarai, and it does annoy me, yeah. But it's like, we'd be the first to talk about the guy which whilst I finish this, I don't even want to say his name, because I don't want to give it that. We're quick to, the news media outlets are quick to talk about him, talk about his sentence, talk about stuff like that. But I first of all want to, obviously, condolences to the family, condolences to that family that are never going to see their kids again.
100%.
Condolences to, and obviously I hope all the other families involved that day with kids were probably traumatized by that. That's a mad thing to see. At the age you're at, that's not going to, you know what I mean? So a lot of people that day are affected by that. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
The guy's just been sentenced to 58 years in prison.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. Me personally, I'm just thinking, my head, he probably won't last that long. As bad as it sounds.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't, because obviously when it comes to prisoners, depending on your crime,
there's a moral like hierarchy with
there,
it.
100%. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because even the father that killed his daughter, her name was Sarah, flew to Pakistan. Him and his partner flew to Pakistan, and they left her. He got attacked recently in there. So yeah, there is definitely
there's a moral hierarchy in prisons. Yeah, 100%. And I say that in the sense of, I feel like people like that, people that do those types of crimes, people that do other horrific crimes to do with kids or anything like that, like whatever happens to you as a person who's done that afterwards, that's on you.
Yeah. Even like Jeffrey Dahmer, the way he was killed in the end could be very much justified for what he's done. But even coming back to
the gang.
No, to this person who's now killed 3 young kids, especially me being a parent. I just dropped my daughter off to Arabic school just before I came, and I told you, like, I'm a bit worried, like, you know, did she get in, did she not? Like, you hear this kidnapping. You leave your children in places that you think are safe. Like, imagine these girls were left there to have a nice little dance class, and then to find out that they've been stabbed, like, to death. And it wasn't just the 3, there was, like, lots more injured. And having to live with
injuries and stuff like that. That's what people seem to be forgetting. All 3 fatalities.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of people that were injured. Lots of people that were injured. So obviously, I hope that they are okay. It is sad,
Yeah.
But for the girls that have been left here with this trauma, are they okay? Are they gonna be all right? Like, it's a lot to process at a young age.
And you get survivor's guilt. Imagine surviving that and then thinking that could have been me, or why wasn't it me? Or if you've lost your friend as well, like, these young girls are having to process that. Teachers are probably having to sit there and think, what could I have done differently? Or like, why didn't they take me instead of the young girls? Coming back to Axel Ruda Cubana, I know he was in Doctor Who.
No, I think not that it matters, but I think that as a kid, they used a picture in media of him as basically extra for a comic relief advert.
Yeah.
That was done X amount of years ago.
So so there was not clearly, like, I wouldn't say there was something that we would have been concerned about him just say personally when he was younger. And it's crazy how this child could then end up at a place where he's now killed 3 young, like, who wants to kill children? So I was looking into the story before he went to that to the school. The week before that, he went to his own school to do something because he kept being excluded from school. He was also, like, referred to Prevent many times because of his extremism. And his dad actually tried stopping him and told a taxi to not take him to where he wanted to go. So the week before, he wanted to do something and his parents did try stop him. Could they have done more? I don't know.
How old was the kid? 17?
He was 17.
So in my instance, but I'm saying it's hindsight, innit? But if I'm the parent and you're going to do something mad like that, and okay, look, I don't know, maybe the parents were not physically able to stop him.
Yeah.
I'm knocking you out. You're not going nowhere. No. But I mean, as in, like,
shall I tell you what's difficult about this country? Where we have so many laws, if a parent now does that, now you're then prosecuted. And another thing about the police, even when it comes to threats, unless something is immediate and like there and then, they don't want to act. So even if the dad called and said, I'm worried about my son, most
That's
times,
a 101 call, they'll say.
so even if he did say, oh yeah, my son's like got rat poison, because I think when they went to their house they saw rat poison in a container, or he's got machetes, and it's like, well, unless he's carrying it outside and it's an immediate threat, we can't do anything about
But
it.
you can. That's ridiculous. And that's mad because if you're in possession of machetes, that's not a kitchen knife or anything like that.
Yeah, but some
So
people have it for like just say decorations, right? But and if it's in your house, technically it's not illegal, right? But it's like, what could we do more if a parent does want to do something? There's so many laws to now say you're not allowed to do this, you can't discipline like this, you can't do that. Also, how do they explain, I think my child is going to do something? Like, you can't put someone in prison for that. I do feel like he might have mental health that might have not been recognized. But even someone having a psychotic breakdown, there isn't much help unless they're physically beating people up. You could ask the ambulance to come and section this person, and they're like, no, there's laws saying that they need to be.
well, unless they're classed as so my friend used to be a paramedic, so I know this, but unless they're classed as psychotic, if you was to call somebody out to the property and they're unless essentially the only way that they can be forcibly removed from the house and sectioned is if they're arrested.
Yeah, yeah,
Outside of that,
exactly.
it's the
There's
person's
nothing
choice.
exactly, and then the police don't arrest them because they're like, we can't abuse their rights. And like, I know someone who was having an episode really bad, and it took the family about 6 times to get the ambulance there, to finally get a mental health nurse to say actually they're not sane. What people don't also realize is if that person sounds like they know what they're talking about, they could be making it up. But if the police think, oh, I asked them a question and they're adhering and they're sort of answering, they're not going to arrest them and they're not going to section them. So it's really difficult, because what could we have done, or the family could have done, to prevent this?
I think this public inquiry that they're doing on the Southport killings now will highlight probably a lot of faults maybe in the police or the way that the systems dealt with this kid, because from the sounds of it, they could have prevented this by taking steps a while ago, and today, more importantly, had they have done that, we would be looking at 3 young kids getting up in the morning, playing with their family or going to school as normal. But now it's three families who will never see their kids again, and a whole room of kids traumatized and probably maybe physically affected by the injuries they've got that might be life changing as well.
Yeah.
And the families that have to deal with that, and then the teachers that have to deal with it as well. There's a lot of people affected by this. So this public inquiry to come out, I don't really normally watch or pay attention to this sort of thing, but I think this is something that I will watch just to see what comes out about it. No doubt there will be I'm going to be honest with you. The police will do everything that they can to not be held accountable, because essentially, for me, the only outcome in this would be that if the police could have done more to stop this guy who was 17, Axel, from going out and doing what he was doing by taking steps before, and they didn't listen to, like you say, red flags that were given before from the parents, etc., then the law enforcement or the forces that they were talking to at the time are at fault. And then you could argue that they could not directly be linked responsible, they didn't commit the murder, but indirectly could have done more to stop it and prevent it. And unfortunately, from bad situations, you want to hope that for future that these things that happen can change laws and change the way things are done, if that makes sense.
As an educator, sometimes I can see where schools do fail young kids, and I can see maybe it's because teachers are exhausted and they don't want to put in that a bit more effort, or they just can't, they don't have the resources to. But for a child like him to be excluded so many times, he probably felt rejected. And there are certain things that maybe we can do a lot younger, because at the end of the day, a child is a blank canvas, right? It's how we nurture them. No child is born to become a murderer. Majority of us can be nurtured to be able to regulate ourselves. And I think where we see it a lot more now in urban areas, where schools are becoming academies, and a lot of children with ADHD or any sort of like behavioral issues are being like excluded, pushed out. Where are they going to end up? they're going to end up either lonely and excluded from society in general, or in gangs committing crime. So it's like, as an educator, we could do a bit more, but then we are also exhausted. And I think that's why I do take a bit more of the lenient approach with, like, when I do my job, is because I feel like I can see, if I'm not that support for them now, when they're older, they're going to have nothing. And maybe I could impact that child's life in a positive way. And hopefully, because I've got family, like my young nephews, that have been involved in the wrong stuff, and it's traumatizing, like, to have to deal with that.
Everyone's entitled to their opinions, right? My opinion is that guy should never see the light of day again in any form. But
so you think you believe in do you believe in capital punishment?
Do I believe in capital punishment for certain crimes? Yes, but realistically, you can't just do capital punishment. It can never be brought in because I'm talking off emotion, or you say you've got an opinion on something, you're talking off emotion. You know, at the end of the day, capital punishment can't be brought in again because it couldn't be regulated properly. Then you could argue how many people get falsely accused.
Yeah.
Then the issue is as well is we've got a system that isn't great.
Yeah.
It's a failed system already. That how many people go through the system that are falsely accused of things, that haven't done certain things. So then they're sentenced now. Then they get found not guilty after they're dead. So it's like we need to fix our legal system first.
100%.
Before maybe that can even be considered. But because of human rights, that thing got taken up. So I don't think it's something that can come back. We're not America.
So obviously this is controversial. When I do talk highly of Sharia law, it's because Sharia law is actually really fair. If you read into it and study it, it's actually really fair. Capital punishment is a part of Sharia law, but that should be our absolute end resort. Like, before that, you should look at forgiveness, and if the family forgive, you shouldn't put the person on capital punishment. But we do believe, like the other Abrahamic faiths, like an eye for an eye, like what you do wrong is what should be done to you. Again, the emphasis heavy on it's about being fair. You're meant to use that as an absolute last resort. And if it's absolutely 100%, it's that person. For example, even adultery, to get someone convicted of being an adulterer, you have to have 4 witnesses of seeing the act. So how likely is it if you're in your bedroom, you're going to have 4 people seeing the act? I know, like, lots of people will be on the comments saying, oh yeah, but if you were in a Muslim country, you're going to be stoned because you're not wearing a scarf. Again, that's incorrect. Some countries like Saudi Arabia and Iran, they might use Sharia law to promote what they want. For example, like Iran saying that women must wear hijab. That's not something that's practiced in Islam. It's very much their choice. And there is no punishment for a woman not to wear it. Whereas Iran likes to use their power, and there is patriarchy behind, like, some people abusing that.
So it's country dependent.
Yeah, 100%. So I wouldn't say there's any country. Maybe Qatar would be my closest country that I would say would, in my opinion, practice Sharia law to the most closeness and fairness. And Malaysia, maybe. I do like Malaysia, but yeah, like, there's lots of Sharia law that there's so much. So there might be something harsh, like, for example, if you steal, your hand should be cut off. But that's, like, it's not for your first theft, especially if it's because you're poor and you need food. There's so many little criteria that you have to meet for it to be extreme. But obviously places like Saudi Arabia, where it's in the news for having the most people that they've executed, people just watch that and think, oh yeah, look, they're using Sharia law. If I was anyone watching, I'll say, like, look into Sharia law. I'm not saying that I want the UK to comply, but there are ways of doing it where it is fair, and you have to have absolute truth. Like, you have to know that that person has definitely done something before you do execute them. So yeah, like you said, if Britain was to implement something like that, you have to definitely know that the evidence says it is that person.
Exactly. Obviously, like people were saying, Axel's case is clear, which you can't not agree with because the crime's done.
And people, and there's enough witnesses. There's people
if you're asking, like, my personal opinion, and I speak for myself here, somebody like that, like, I've got nieces, I've got nephews, I've got family. For me, running through all of that, like, and I'm sorry, but it's like, that's my personal opinion, Soraya.
100%.
But it's easier said than done to just bring in capital punishment because, like we were saying, we don't know what. Like, there's so many discrepancies in our legal system already that people get falsely accused of stuff 100%. All the time. If you're falsely accused of something and then capital punishment comes in, and then it happens, and then afterwards you find out they're not guilty.
Exactly.
That's a big 100%. Big screw up.
Yeah, and with like coming back to Sharia law, everything that is there, it's meant to be a deterrent. So like if they know there are them extremes, it's meant to deter you. But equally as well, you could use long prison sentences. So it's not like it has to be something so extreme. But the extremes are there just to deter you. So society is better. I don't know if UK could, because like you said, there's institutional racism. There's places where people convict people because, again, if it's based on a jury and it's just circumstantial evidence, but they've got a bias, they can convict you guilty and you're finished. The moral of this episode would be regulate yourselves, right? Like, do not let anger or the moment of anger ruin your life.
100%. 100%. I think that's a good place to leave it, man.
And I do feel like now that I'm in my 30s, and maybe you'll agree, we have a lot more emotional regulation. They do say women and men, we get to like our frontal lobes like develop when we get to our 30s, so fully. So I think we can make a lot more better choices in life.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, man. Well,
I've been Soraya.
I've been Paolo.
And we've been here to get your chit together.
Bang.